The Lunarians attacked an away team outside the conference room. Corlina discovered that Picard had already made a second date with Penny Murak. And Domjot is just a little trigonometry and some minor wrist action. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 15, entitled Tapestry, written by the Ronald D. Moore, directed by the Les Landau. This was February 13th, 1993, Valentine's Day Eve. Where were you? And how you doing today, Sirach?
Excellent.
All right. Everybody, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. That way you know when we release a new episode. And go to patreon.com/the7th rule to support the show and tell us all how much you appreciate us monetarily. All right. So, Sirach, I do have thoughts about this episode, surprisingly. However, to my knowledge, this is the first time you've ever watched The Next Generation. So this would be the first time you've ever seen Season 6, Episode 15, Tapestry. What did you think of it?
It was a good episode. I'll say that first because I don't want to pile on the episode right away. I liked the episode. I enjoyed the episode.
But
I do. Well, the only but is, I guess the only but that I can say is I didn't know Tapestry was a Q episode. And so that's my big but, because
and you cannot lie.
He irritates me to the nth degree. Like I physically get annoyed by him. And because I guess because he's playing it so well, because he's supposed to be like that, right? He is, his character is an irritative, annoying, like, pestering, individual with a whole lot of arrogance and entitlement and supremacy issues. So there's like all of that there. And so when he gets on, I don't know what it is. I just like, oh God, here we go with this guy and his games. And so they made up for that. And I'm going to give Ron Moore credit because Ronald Moore did a fantastic job making this my favorite of the Q episodes, which maybe sounds weird or something, but I enjoyed this Q episode more so than I think I've enjoyed any other ones in the past.
Okay.
He was less obnoxious. He was gifting Picard an opportunity. And I thought, oh, I can tolerate this version of Q. It wasn't overly.
Yeah, because the episode wasn't fully about Q. Q was more the guide, right? He was the guy that snapped his fingers to create this thing, kind of like the Robin Hood episode. He was kind of the guide, and he would pop in and pop out, and he's like the narrator almost. What did you think of Lieutenant Junior Grade Picard?
Yeah, first of all, it doesn't even fit. Like, it's like, what is this guy? Who is this guy, right? As soon as I saw the science officer colors on him, I was thinking, how did he even get out of command? Like, what's going on here? And then it made me think of your action figure, and I thought, oh, this is why Ryan has that one action figure that he has that different color in, right?
You nailed it.
This is it.
This action figure is from this specific episode. It's a rare one. It's Lieutenant Junior Grade Picard, and I always have him with me. I bring him up and I do his little voice, and I couldn't find him today, as luck would have it, which is, I was like, well, isn't that is such a Lieutenant Junior Grade Picard thing to do, is to not be around the one time when I actually need him. So that was pretty ironic.
Like, as many appearances as he's made on this podcast.
Yeah, I literally
amazing.
Could not find. I even found his carrying case that Dr. Susan V. Gruner made for him. Oh, it's green.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, good, I found him. And I went like this, and his toga fell out, but not him. Even the little passport that Sue made for when she went to Greece and took him to Greece with her. Little Captain.
Wow.
Anyway,
so he's on the run.
So here's the thing, guys. If you find Lieutenant Junior Grade Picard action figure, please tell him to go home. His daddy is worried about him. And he'll be like, well, he's just not. Well, that doesn't sound like him, actually. He doesn't take chances. But anyway, back to the story. Sirach, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Not only do I have that action figure just because it's a very rare one and it's fun to see Picard in science colors, but because I believe this is one of the greatest episodes in the history of Star Trek. Like, I think it's probably, for me personally, a top 5 favorite TNG episode, which stops you dead in your tracks to hear me say this, because up until now, it seemed like you had a little bit of respect for me. But I do believe that this is a fantastic episode. I even had the old 1999 VHS tape, and I mean, like, the price. You bought it for $19.99. Not that it came out in 1999. Maybe it did. And I would have that thing, and I'd watch it over and over again, and it was like, the biggest thing, obviously, is the message at the end. The message at the end was like, it is something that we have all thought of in our lives. I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I didn't do that. Boy, I did these crazy. And we talk about them with pride sometimes. Like, oh man, I did some bad shit. But then we also kind of have some regrets about certain things sometimes, or wonder what things would have been like had we not screwed something up. And the lesson is, it's all part of the tapestry of your life. And if you think your life would have been better had you not made that mistake 20 or 30 years ago, you might be wrong, because that mistake might have made you hit a bump in the road, but it might have created something better in the long run. And it's got a really great message, and I think a lot of people really like it. In fact, no spoilers, but our friend Jason M. Oken told me he is so bummed that he will not make the free-for-all, because he said this was his favorite TNG episode ever, which is the first time officially he's ever complimented anything. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's I have to say, I have to think back on my favorites, because it's all fresh in my mind, and I don't have the whole picture of all the episodes that I've seen in my head right now. Yeah, what was the episode where he lives out his old life and carves a flute for himself? That was another great episode.
Yeah, well, that was The Inner Light. That is, most people consider that a top 3 or top 5 episode, and a huge chunk of people say that's their favorite episode. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah. I may lean more Inner Light than Tapestry.
Yeah, powerful.
Just because of the Q factor, really, literally, I love the story. So, like,
yeah, Q really threw you out of it.
Yeah, I swear.
But it's because he's necessary to this episode.
He is necessary, but the problem is, I have the same reservation that Picard himself states in the episode, which is, I refuse to believe the afterlife is run by you. That's one
and
thing.
Is this badly I don't believe the universe is this badly designed or something.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
So good.
Yes, and that's exactly how I felt. So when he said that, I was like, yes, yes, Picard, I agree with you. This can't be the case. He can't have the ability to transfer into interdimensionally into the afterlife. It's just too much for me. It's too much powers for a Q. And so I think that aspect of it. Now, if it was something else, another guide
Yeah, or
in the
magic
afterlife,
being or something like that.
yeah, another guide in the afterlife. And maybe this guide was faceless, and we didn't even know what alien it was or whatever. Just a guide. Maybe robed or cloaked, and you just face just constantly not being able to be seen or whatnot. The Q factor is the part that made it a little bit harder for me, and so I would totally agree with you. The story was, I enjoyed watching the story. I enjoyed seeing. There's so much here, so we got to dissect a lot. But for example, I think we've heard about this story over the course of these 6 seasons, right? Have they not referred to this to Picard having an artificial
I
heart
think they
issue?
mentioned it in an episode, yeah. And certainly in our free for alls, people do hint towards things, and they do like to throw in
Yeah,
tapestry in their description of things, just the word with a little wink, wink, and a nudge, nudge. So it's been
yeah,
floating around. I've been trying not to say
yeah,
anything. I mean, and I know you've seen me play with this little rascal here in the
yeah,
past, so it's
yeah.
definitely been floating around. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think story wise, this let me, this is confirmation or reconfirmation because I already was certain about this that Ron Moore is the the premier writer of Star Trek, in my opinion. Just
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
body of work is too good. It's too good.
Unbelievable.
It's too
And
good.
before we jump too much in that, just I think I'm also remembering Dr. Pulaski doing something to help Picard's artificial heart too. Yeah, just to agree with you a little bit
Yeah.
more. I think I remember that like maybe her first or second episode, like to kind of show how great she was at what she did. But anyway, Ronald D. Moore,
Well, they mentioned it in another episode. They was like, "Well, you have this rebuilt artificial heart." Somewhere in an episode,
yeah,
I heard it.
at least once or twice. And yeah, definitely. So, and then Ronald D. Moore, his as we watch these episodes, we've seen all of Deep Space Nine. Now we're watching all of Next Generation. His library, his resume is getting stacked with good episodes.
It's not even a question for me. His writing is so eloquent that all I find myself doing when I watch an episode of his is write all the words down. And it feels like I'm just rewriting the script almost. I'm like, yeah, I can't just write everything. I have to, pick something that I like. But I end up writing damn near half the script, and I'm thinking, a script is good when you're sitting here writing the lines down.
Yep.
I know you do the same thing, but it's just like,
Oh, do I ever?
it's amazing. I mean, when Picard first sees Q and he tells him, "You're dead," right? And he's like, "How am I? Why am I here? And how did I get here?" And he says, "Oh, because of the inept administration, Doctor Crusher." That was the first like dig from Q, and I was like, "This he's an asshole in the afterlife." He's taking shots at Crusher over there.
Yeah, I'll show you real quick.
Yeah.
Dude, I do the same. I do the same thing. This might be the first time I've ever shown this, but my notes, a lot of times when it's a really good episode, is just quotes, quote after
Yes.
quote after quote
Yes.
after quote after quote. And I'm like, why am I writing so many notes here?
Yes.
So many good
Yes.
quotes there.
Mine went so far that I had to go to the backside and fill up the other side. You see, because there was just too much. Like
Yeah.
on the backside, I had to write all the other stuff.
Although I get really scared showing everybody my notes because a lot of times I write really bad jokes to myself in these notes where I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy said some dumb shit. And and this guy's an idiot, or oh boy, nice acting, stupid, or but I'm like, I can't say that. But anyway,
Plus, you got nicknames for people that might
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I do. But not in this one. I think this was all positive, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do have some nitpicks, but they're pretty minor. I do think that the best part of Q in this episode was when and this is maybe one of my favorite scenes ever in Star Trek history, is when Picard wakes up and he looks over and Q goes, "Morning, darling," and Picard goes, and he pulls up the blanket. Like, that's so
I was like, why is he pulling up the blanket like he doesn't want to expose his chest?
It's just
You've been
so
walking around with
funny.
your chest out this whole time, Picard. You've seen
So
a lot
good.
of your chest.
So good.
But yeah, no, that was funny. I did enjoy that moment. And there were some good moments, and that's why I thought this was Q's best episode for me. I enjoyed this version of him. Was a little tame, a little mild, more compassionate, and it was more. It was a more clever gamesmanship than what I normally see him reduced to. Like when he says to him, "Hey, I'll restore your life and give you a real new working heart," and he does, but not what he thinks. It's like when you ask that genie for a wish, and the wish turns out wrong. You were like, "No, that's not what I want. You misheard me."
Yeah, or like if you just tell a genie, "Hey, I want to be promoted at work." And the genie says, "Okay," and then you get promoted at work, and then 2 weeks later you get laid off because they can't afford that level or something. You know what I mean? You're like, "Gosh, what?"
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to be careful about wishes. You got to be careful about regrets. Obviously, that's never going to happen. We're not going to have a genie. We're not going to have a Q. But we have these kinds of things to remind us of, like, hey, be grateful for what you have. Don't necessarily think that things that were bad or seem bad or felt bad always turn out to have been bad in the long run. They're all part of the tapestry of our lives. And when you pull that thread, pull that loose end, it unravels the whole thing. But moving on a bit, you said besides Q, let's take Q out of this. What did you think of the rest of it?
Well, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I really enjoyed the episode. It didn't have any performance wise that I can say blew me away. Where was that episode we just saw recently where Picard was very vulnerable? And oh yeah, he was being held prisoner by the Cardassian guy.
Oh, Chain of Command.
I mean, that was performance wise. It was a higher level of acting that Patrick Stewart was doing in that episode, because he had to be vulnerable. He was projecting himself. It was amazing, the performance.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, performance wise, I didn't see anything that jumped out to me like greatest episode. What made it great is the idea of what is the fundamental thing of it, which is we all wish we can get opportunity to relive or redo something. What if this didn't happen? What if that didn't happen? And would you be satisfied with the results of what that life is that you end up coming out of?
Mm-hmm.
And the irony is that the opposite is also true too. And that's why I thought it was funny to see Lieutenant Junior grade Picard. And what do I mean by that? There is a person who made life choices and is Lieutenant Junior grade assistant astrophysics guy, right? And maybe had that person gotten a chance to redo, they would be okay with the results.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
In the Picard case, we're seeing him not okay with the results because he ends up becoming demoted. He's not a captain anymore, and his all-time goal and dream of life is to be a captain. So nothing passes that in his ideas, right? He could be a baseball star. That wouldn't be as big for him. He wants to be a captain of a ship, right? He doesn't want to be a geologist or a Shakespearean actor. He wants to be a captain, right? And so I think he realized, hey, I got to do the thing that I love most, and I don't care that I'm on this ship in Starfleet. I'm not a captain, and that my ultimate dream is not fulfilled. And so I feel like at the root of the debate is um, fulfilling what you desire, fulfilling what you believe to be your destinies, fulfilling to be the thing that you think is uh, a defining characteristic of who you are. And I think that lies at heart of it, not the fact that he was demoted, because I think he's still in Starfleet. He's still studying a subject. Obviously, he did well in school and
Yeah.
well enough astrophysics, so he did well enough to get ranking in that. He passed that. It's all of that stuff. So what I'm saying is, it's more about achieving the dream of what he always wanted to accomplish, which is being a captain. It's not necessarily about because they kept saying you're running tests, making analysis, and carrying out reports to your superiors. That's what Q said to him.
That
You're
word
now doomed,
superiors really, he hit that in
and
hard
that
too.
word superiors hit him hard. And but once again, there are people living that life, doing it for Captain Picard.
Most
Yeah,
people.
there are people on Picard's ship that are running tests, making analysis. Everybody, Geordi, Data, right? That's what they're doing. And to me, to quantify that as a miserable existence is not necessarily the right tone to hit, because I don't think Geordi's life is a miserable one, or Data's life is a miserable one, or any subordinate to them who may be working their way up the ranks. I don't think that just because they're not the captain and they're the superior officer, I don't think that's necessarily a definition of a inferior life, or one not worth living. Like, I would just rather die than so so that's where a little bit of the morality and the message that we leave behind is slightly diluted by what they emphasize as being the thing that he cannot live with. I think it's more about him fulfilling his dream of being a captain.
Yeah, I see that, and I'll counter.
Okay.
I mean, part of what you're saying, a lot of it too, I agree, is that would he be that unhappy with it had he not already seen his previous reality? If he had never seen that or lived that and he was living this, then he would always just kind of regret not taking chances, but he wouldn't say, I'd rather die than continue on, most likely, right? He'd be like, it's good enough. It's cool. It's everything I've ever known. It's just who I am,
Yeah.
But I think what really hit him was his conversation with Riker and Troy. That's when it really hit him hard, because that was a really good scene too. And there's nothing I love more than seeing actors that are hardly in an episode, like Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis were. Yet they gave that scene everything they had. I thought the acting from Riker and Troy both were phenomenal in that scene. Like, even when Troy wasn't talking, the way she was looking at Picard with concern and sympathy in her eyes while Riker was talking to him was really good. And the way Riker was just cracking me up, the way he's kind of a dick to his subordinate, we're used to seeing him talking to Picard, who's his superior, or talking to the guys like Geordi and Worf, who are not really his peers, but really close to his level. So he talks to them with respect most of the time. But apparently when he talks to this bumbling guy who's punctual, he's just like, look, if you really want to know, because he was like, oh, this might be better for your evaluation. And he's like, I really want to know now. He's like, okay, well, frankly, Lieutenant, I really don't think that's realistic. I mean, he's just like, fine. If you're going to be pushy about it and interrupt my date, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's not realistic. You're not going to be a captain. You're a great officer, and we don't want to lose you. But you just, you're thorough, dedicated, steady, reliable, and punctual.
He tells him, you got to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stand out, And then Troy says, yes, the thing is, you have lofty goals, but you haven't been willing to take chances to achieve them, or something like to that effect.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's the crux of it.
That's the crux of it. And so, the thing is this: if we play it safe in life, and I think they mentioned the word "play it safe." I think something like Q says to him, like, "Yeah, you could play it safe," and da da da, right? So the word is the words will play it safe.
He even went on this big long monologue about that Picard, that Jean-Luc Picard, never led the away mission on whatever, never took charge of the Stargazer when his captain died, blah, blah. Yeah. He learned to play it safe, and he never got noticed by anyone. And I'm like, oh, that is a bigger stab in the heart than the Nausicaans gave him. I'll tell you that much. Ouch.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I love the way they smile. The smile was incorporated. The moment when he smiles, when he gets stabbed, it's such a beautiful poetic justice type moment where it's just chef's kiss of a moment there. But when he says to him, you never took chances. The other Picard did this. The other Picard did that. And what it really boils down to is, in life in general, for everybody out there, you cannot walk around in a zero risk situation. If you do, you're going to bubble wrap yourself in your place, and you won't live life. You won't explore. There's risk when you drive a car. There's risk when you go running on a trail or hiking. There's a risk when you go on an airplane. There's a risk when anything, almost anything. Even eating.
I was just going to say, even eating is a risk.
Yeah, people, choke to death and die while they're eating, so it's not impossible. Taking a shower, people have slipped and fell in the shower. And so if you're going to try to find a zero risk way of living life, it's almost impossible. You have to take on risk in life. You have to, face those fears and those challenges. And what you do in those moments, it's not that you don't feel it. It's that you overcome the feeling. You say, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to whatever it is. And you take on whatever that thing is. Ride a skateboard, mountain bike, whatever your thing is to do. You have to be able to overcome your fear. Swimming, anything. Nobody knows how to swim until they learn how to swim. Right. And so you have to face that and take a risk. So I just feel like this episode was excellently written. For me, it highlighted why I love Ronald Moore's writing.
Yeah,
because the dialogue is scrumptious. It's very good to watch him architect the back and forth between his characters. You mentioned Riker in that scene. Riker had a look on his face like, first of all, I don't even. Your name is like
Mr. Picard.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
Picard, right? And then he looks at him like, but you're taking up too much time for me right now. I don't want to be bothered with you. And it really did look like a subordinate type of situation. But once again, I did like the episode. The narcissist, we have to get to that.
Nausicaans. Oh yeah, we'll get. Oh, you mean the guys that go, "Hey, dumb jut, human." I got that action figure too. and it comes with the act. Oh, I should have gotten that. I bet you I
I
got
think
that
I've seen
somewhere.
you say that before. I've
Yo,
heard you
yeah, oh
say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes with the long knife too. I should
It's
find
funny
those
because
guys.
the whole time I've heard you say that, I thought that was a Ferengi impersonation. I
Oh, interesting. Although the Ferengi do work with Noskins. Sometimes you'll remember in Deep Space Nine, like Quark will say, be careful. I know some very big Nausicaans or something like that. But look, we're going to take a break, and then I'm going to talk about all the things I hate about this episode.
Yeah,
If there
right.
are any, we'll be right back on the seventh rule.